This is the last known photo of 12-year-old Jared Negretti, a self-portrait he snapped on July 19, 1991 after he was officially declared missing earlier that day. Jared was a member of the Boy Scouts, and July 19 was meant to be a milestone. It was his first overnight backpacking trip to the summit of Mount San Gorgonio, the highest peak in Southern California. Jared, alongside 5 fellow Boy Scouts and an adult troop leader, started the hike early in the morning. While the hike started off just as planned, the 11,000-foot ascent eventually took its toll on Jared specifically. He started to fall behind at around 6 p.m., unable to keep pace with the rest of the group. Determined to stick to the schedule, the group leader decided to go ahead with the other 5 kids and leave Jared behind.
Wow. What? So the adult leader decided to leave this little boy behind. Oh my god, that's so sad, bro. Man, bro, I know he is haunted with that decision. I know he thinks about that every day, bro. But why would you even just leave a little kid? I don't know, man.
Choice he would come to regret for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Not long after, a different group of hikers saw Jared descending the mountain alone and doing so in a dangerously unsafe way by shortcutting the switchbacks. Which, for those who don't know, it means he was ignoring the zigzagging trail designed to safely navigate steep terrain and was instead heading straight down the slope. The hikers had warned Jared about the dangers of straying from the designated path and also made sure to inform the scout leader when they had caught up with the troop further up the mountain. The leader, however, shrugged off their concern, stating that they'd catch up with Jared on their way back. Unfortunately, by the time they came back, Jared...
So he had 2... Oh my god, bro. He had 2 opportunities. First, he could have just went back and helped the little boy out, and gave him a little pickup, just walked with him or something. And then second, you had an opportunity to go back and get Jared, I think his name is, and you shrugged it off. That's insane. That's insane.
Was nowhere to be seen. It didn't take long for the troop to realize the gravity of the situation.
Man.
They quickly descended to the base camp and managed to call for help around midnight, sparking one of the largest search and rescue missions in the region's history. Over the following days, rescue teams scoured a massive 130 square mile stretch of the San Gorgonio wilderness. But there was no sign of Jared anywhere. It wasn't until day 3 when they found their first clue, a footprint matching the high-top sneakers he was wearing at the time of his disappearance. Further search of that area also uncovered more items that belonged to Jared, including the wrappers for beef jerky and candy, and most importantly, the disposable camera he had with him. Inside, the film held 12 photos, most of which were landscapes he captured throughout the trip. But the final image, taken after he had gone missing, was a chilling close-up of Jared's own eyes and nose, illuminated by the camera's flash. And while this photo proved that Jared was still alive hours after he went missing, it offered little to no clue about his whereabouts. The pitch-black background and low resolution obscured any background details that might have helped rescuers pinpoint where the photo was taken. Over the next 2 weeks, nearly 3,000 volunteers...
Or did he take the photo, bro? Because I know there's some crazy folks out there. I mean, I don't know who would be up in the mountains that high snooping around, but did he take the photo? I don't know. If you know about this case, man, let me know in the comments. Let me know more in the comments. I want to know more, man. I want to know more about
and professionals poured more than 45,000 combined hours into searching the vast San Bernardino National
freaking adult leader, bro. Oh my god, bro. He could have saved this little boy's life, bro. He could have just been a genuine person and just helped the little guy walk up the damn slope or whatever they were going, man. And then you had a second time to go back and you just shrugged it off like, oh, we'll catch up to him. Oh man, I know he is sick, bro.
But with no solid leads to follow, the search dragged on without making any significant progress. On August 4, after 16 days, the search for Jared was officially called off by the authorities, leaving the mystery of his disappearance unsolved to this day. So, what really happened to Jared? Well, there are several possibilities. The first of which is that he accidentally took the wrong trail and got lost while trying to catch up with the rest of the Boy Scouts. However, while getting lost is a common cause of disappearance in the wilderness, it doesn't quite add up in Jared's case. You see, this all took place in the middle of summer, so there was no risk of him succumbing to harsh elements like extreme cold. He also had plenty of drinkable water in the 2-quart canteen he had on him, not to mention the countless freshwater creeks and ponds dotted throughout the mountain. Put simply, he would have survived for at least a few days, and with thousands of rescuers scouring the area, it's likely someone would have found him. So, a more plausible theory is that he potentially slipped and fell off a sheer cliff. After all, he was shortcutting the switchbacks when the second group of hikers spotted him. It's possible he kept taking those dangerous shortcuts after they left, and one misstep on the steep terrain in the darkness led to a fatal fall. But this still begs the question, why didn't any of the rescuers come across his body despite the extensive search?
Yeah, like, what the
heck? Which brings us to the third possibility. He was dragged away by a wild animal. Mount San Gorgonio is home to both black bears and cougars. Some people also believe the glowing dot in the background of Jared's last photo is one of the eyes of a predator that was stalking him at the time. However, the search teams didn't find any clue of this being the case either. There was no blood, torn clothes, or drag marks anywhere in the area.
That could be it,
which points to the most disturbing possibility, that instead Jared was abducted by someone. If we accept this as true, it explains why there was no sign of Jared or his body anywhere on the mountain. Unfortunately, it's been over 33 years since Jared vanished, and investigators still haven't found anything that could guide them toward a proper conclusion. His disappearance remains just as much a mystery today as it was the day he went missing.
33 years? That's crazy. I feel like he had to get drugged away by like they said, like a bear, or what did he say, a cougar or mountain lion or something like that. Like, that has to be the case, bro. Like, that is so sad, man. And it all stems from the freaking adult leader. Wow, that's sad, bro. Let me know in the comments what you think happened to this little guy, or if you have any more information about, this situation, please let me know in the comments, man. Oh man, that's so sad.
On June 15th, 1989, a woman in Port St. Joe, Florida, spotted a Polaroid photo lying in the parking lot of a convenience store on her way out. Without thinking much of it, she picked it up and flipped it over, only to be met with a disturbing image she'd never forget. The photo showed a young girl and a much younger boy lying in the back of a white, windowless van with duct tape over their mouths and their hands seemingly tied behind their backs. The woman alerted the police almost immediately, especially since the white van in the image looked eerily similar to the one she saw in the same parking lot minutes earlier. She also provided a description of the driver, allowing investigators to create a sketch of the suspect. However, even after setting up a perimeter around the area, the police weren't able to find the van or its driver. What they didn't know at the time was that this photo would eventually connect to a crime that took place more than 1,500 miles away. The victim of this crime was a 19-year-old college student named Tara Lee Calico. On September 20, 1988, nearly 9 months before the Polaroid was discovered, Tara left her home at around 9:30 a.m. for her daily bike ride. Every day, she'd ride down New Mexico's Highway 47 until reaching the railroad tracks intersecting the road, turning around and taking the same route back home. But on this particular day, Tara had plans with her boyfriend at 12:30 p.m. and didn't want to be late. So she told her mother, Patty, to come pick her up if she wasn't back by noon. And that's exactly what happened. When noon came and went with no sign of Tara, Patty got in her car and began driving along Tara's usual route, hoping to find her somewhere along the way. However, despite going up and down the highway a couple of times, she couldn't find Tara anywhere. Patty rushed back home and called the police to report Tara missing. The authorities immediately put together a search party and began looking for her in the surrounding area.
Do you guys think somebody was like tracking her? He said she freaking did that route like every day. Do you think someone might have been tracking her for a couple of days? Like, I don't know. And then like seeing her stop on the phone or something? I don't know, man.
And it wasn't long before they found their first clue, a cassette tape that Tara was likely listening to on the side of the highway. They also found tire tracks matching her bike near this cassette. Unfortunately, Tara and her neon pink bike were nowhere to be seen. As the search radius became larger, the only other clue they found was a broken piece of her yellow cassette player, miles from where she was supposed to be. Patty believed her daughter had been abducted, and this piece was her way of leaving a trail. This theory was further supported by multiple witness accounts from people who reported seeing an old, worn-out pickup truck closely tailing Tara as she headed back home around
I
11:30
freaking knew
a.m.
it, bro.
Witnesses also noted that Tara was wearing her headphones at the time and seemed unaware of the truck. This suspicion only became stronger when, 9 months after her disappearance, this Polaroid was discovered in Florida.
Man.
The woman who found this didn't know about Tara's case at the time. But as the photo gained more attention, it eventually reached Patty, who became convinced that the girl in the picture was her missing daughter. Not only did this girl look like Tara, but Patty also noted that the book in the photo was from one of Tara's favorite authors. The connection between Tara and this photo deepened further when another New Mexico family came forward claiming they recognized the boy in the photo. They believed it was their son, 9-year-old Michael Henley, who'd gone missing in April of 1988 during a hunting trip with his father. However, that's when Tara's case took a turn. Because, as it turns out, there's a real possibility that the girl in the photo isn't Tara at all. For starters, in June of 1990,
well, I'm so confused,
found the remains of Michael about 7 miles from the campsite he was staying at. He wasn't abducted by anyone. Instead, he likely just wandered off, lost his way, and subsequently died of exposure to the elements. This led many to question whether the Polaroid had any real connection to Tara's specific disappearance at all. And investigations from different departments enhanced the confusion further.
Girl.
Some concluded that the girl in the photo was undoubtedly Tara, while others pointed out the many structural differences between their faces. But if she wasn't abducted by the owner of this white van, then what exactly happened to Tara? Surprisingly, we might actually get a conclusive answer to this question more than 37 years after her disappearance. What do you guys think? On the 13th of June 2023, the Valencia County Sheriff's Office announced a massive update on the case, stating, "At this time, law enforcement believes there is sufficient evidence to submit this investigation to the District Attorney's Office for review of potential charges. Currently, the identities and specifics of the persons of interest are sealed by the court and will remain so until a court order otherwise."
I don't know. That lady looks kind of identical. I don't know. I think that was that lady, bro.
Put simply, after decades of investigating, the police have finally cracked the case and are just waiting for the DA's approval to release the information to the public. As for why it took so long, a widely believed theory is that Tara was accidentally hit by a group of teenagers while biking home. Fearing the consequences, they panicked, abducted her, and eventually killed her to cover up the accident. And according to some, one of those teenagers was the son of the local sheriff, leading to a deliberate and coordinated cover-up that kept the truth buried for decades. Now, whether this theory holds any weight is unknown. But if this does turn out to be the case, who the girl in the Polaroid picture actually is remains a mystery.
Bro, what do y'all think? I think it was that girl. It looked like that girl, bro. It looked like that girl. That's what I think.
On June 8, 1988, an ATM in LA captured what were possibly the final moments of 22-year-old LA resident Matthew Chase. The day had started like any other. Matt spent most of it at work, then went out for dinner with his roommate and close friend Teresa. When the two returned home at around 11:45 p.m., Matt noticed the paycheck he received earlier that day sitting on the coffee table. He was running low on funds, and the bank would have taken about 24 hours to clear the paycheck. So instead of waiting till morning, Matt decided to go deposit it right away. The nearest ATM was just 2 blocks away from their apartment. But since it was getting quite late, Teresa told him to take her car just to be on the safe side. She also asked him to bring a bag of cat food from the store across the street. The whole trip should have taken no more than 15 minutes. But an hour went by and Matt still hadn't returned. Teresa figured he was just driving around town to get some fresh air, so she went to sleep. However, when she woke up in the morning, Matt was still not home. She quickly got up and contacted her brother Steve, who was also good friends with Matt. Together, they called the police and tried to file a missing person report. Unfortunately, since Matt had only been missing for less than 12 hours, the police decided to hold off on launching an investigation just yet. Unsatisfied with this response, Teresa and Steve decided to find clues themselves, and so Steve called the bank.
Bro, that's so crazy, bro. Like, I hate when the police do that. I know some cases, like, people are grown-ups and they leave and, you know, don't tell anyone and do whatever, but, like, if someone has a set schedule, like, you know what I'm saying, or if someone does something every day and it's just like they don't come home, or, you know, it's not like them to just not come home or just not communicate with you directly, and I call the police and say, like, so-and-so is missing, and you're like, oh, it's only been 10 hours, 12 hours, so like, just like we're gonna hold off on it. Like, no, those are the most important times, bro. When people go missing, is those first hours, bro. So like, I don't understand why police have to wait 12 or more than a certain amount of hours to go find a missing person. If I'm telling you somebody is missing, y'all need to do what y'all gotta do.
Pretending to be Matt. According to the bank, Matt had unsuccessfully tried to withdraw money several times since, including one transaction of $280. This was quite odd for two main reasons. One, $280 was far above the maximum withdrawal limit for Matt's ATM card. More importantly, Matt's account didn't even have $100, let alone $280, which is why he went out to deposit a paycheck in the first place. He should have known both of these things quite well. So
Yeah.
the fact he tried to make these transactions anyway indicated that he was being forced to do so by someone else.
Facts.
Teresa and Steve called the police again with this newfound information, and this time authorities took the case more seriously. Though, unlike today, most ATMs at the time
Oh,
didn't have
now you would have
cameras.
taken fucking.
Luckily, one of the machines he tried to withdraw from did have a functioning camera, giving investigators a crucial lead, a grainy but discernible image of Matt at the ATM, with a mysterious man looming just behind him. As the investigation was going on, Matt's card was used again, a day and a half after his disappearance. By then, his paycheck had cleared, allowing whoever made this transaction to withdraw $400. The authorities took notice of this withdrawal and froze Matt's card. So, the next time someone tried to use that card, it was confiscated by the ATM. Unfortunately, none of this helped investigators track down Matt or his kidnapper. There were two composite sketches made of the suspect from the low-res photo, but no one recognized the man based on these. They also tried dusting the confiscated card for fingerprints,
Oh,
but
they
it was
found the
completely
card.
clean. On June 27th, nearly 3 weeks after Matt's disappearance,
That's
the car
wild,
he'd been
though.
driving was finally found. And it was surprisingly close to the ATM that captured this photo. The fact that no one had spotted it sooner suggested that it was likely dumped there later by his abductor. And while it was wiped clean of any fingerprints, just like the card, police did find a blue bandana in the back with the letters ESPBSCLS written on it.
That
From
a
what I was
gang?
able to find, the ESPBS stood for East Side Playboys, a notorious gang in the area. Despite this connection, however,
shit.
investigators weren't able to find any solid evidence that could help them track down the suspect. By this point, the chances of Matt making it out alive were looking increasingly slim. Tragically, his friends
So
and family's
sad.
worst fear came to light on September 17, 1988, when a group of people found his body floating in a ravine in Pasadena. He had a gunshot
Wow.
wound in his head, and according to the autopsy report, was killed and dumped in the ravine 3 months ago, likely a couple days after his abduction. But with no other leads, Matt's case went cold for the next 30 years. Then,
So I bet the dude in the photo probably had forced him to withdraw that. Didn't work. Kidnapped him. Like they said he went back to the ATM and they withdrew. He said what? They tried to get $480. I bet you they got their money, unalived him, and dumped him in the river. Man, that's sad.
in
That's sad.
2018, LAPD announced that they had the answer to Matt's disappearance. According to the report, Matt was killed by a 20-year-old gangster named David Mesa, who went by the name Bear. Apparently,
David Mesa.
David's girlfriend confirmed that the man in the ATM photo was indeed her boyfriend. As for David himself, police found out that he was killed in a gang-related shootout just 2 days after he supposedly killed Matt. Now, this raises more questions than it answers. Like, why would anyone kidnap and kill someone just for $400? Was David alone in all of this, or did he have any accomplices? And if David died days after committing the crime, who dumped Teresa's car near the original crime scene 3 weeks later? That said, this revelation was still enough to give Matt's friends and family the closure they needed after 3 decades.
Yeah, that's 3 decades. Is crazy, man. That is so sad, bro. 3 decades? That's a long time, bro. To not know anything. I'm glad the family got the closure they deserve, man. Oh man, back to that little boy, bro. If you guys know anything about that case or anything, let me know. Like, if you know what happened to that little guy, please let me know in the comments. Please, please, please. That shit got me thinking, bro. Like, what happened to him, bro? I don't know. It's so crazy, man. Especially the freaking adult leader, bro. I cannot get that out of my head. I know he thinks about that every day, bro. He has to. There's no way. You would not think about that every day. I don't know, man. It's your boy Wavy Marty, man. Thank you for stopping by and watching this and reacting to this video with me, man. If you guys like me or whatever, man, go ahead and hit my socials down here below. You can go ahead and check out my latest video up here, man. It's your boy Wavy Marty, man. We is out of here. Let's go.